Yo, 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 welcome back to the Out the Box Show. I'm John Wallace alongside my co-hosts James Luffy and Rory Luke, and we're going to air our grievances on this episode of the Out the Box Show with the first game of the season. But before we do all that, I'm just kidding. We're not going to be that down about it, but LSU did drop the first game of the 2020 football season. Wait, is it 2020 or 2021? 2021. Wait. I'm sorry, I was confused because it kind of looked like a lot of the same stuff that we watched last year in LSU football, but we're going to get to all that. Disappointing loss. Feel horrible for all those out there that took the trip to Pasadena. It was, I assume everything was great, but the game, we'll get into all of that. Look ahead to McNeese State. Not a lot to talk about there, and come back with some House Always Wins picks. But before I even get to, a couple, shouting out our sponsors and Boo Crew Media, I want to just give it to you guys. In my absence last week, I listened to the episode. Y'all did a fantastic job filling in. It hurt my heart to miss an episode. That was my first one that I missed, and y'all did an incredible job. And I wish we could come back this week on a better note, but we're here. We're here for it. There were a few positives, a lot of negatives. We're going to break them all down. We're still kind of fuming from the weekend, trying to calm down. But before we get to all that, I want to give a huge shout out to the Boot Crew Media Network. Chris Calderera, the Out the Box beat reporter / blog writer, just put out an article yesterday called One Team, No Heartbeat, where he tells the hard truth, put pen to paper, and basically broke down everything that we're going to say on this podcast in a very eloquent way. A lot of good analogies.
I tell you what, that's a great headline. Like that's a great, view getter. One team, no heartbeat. Yeah. He really put some thought into that.
He is a beast with the pen and paper. Make sure to check that out on bootcrewmedia.com. Lots of other good content on there. With NFL season starting this coming weekend, there's a lot of Saints talk. The guys over at Propels Talk are still talking basketball. There's stuff going on. We're heading into the MLB postseason in about a month. It's a great time of year for sports. Like we said,
it really is one of the best times of the year.
Yeah, and we're gonna make a lot of money with the House Always Wins segment too. You can find all of the content, and they've been posting a lot of just funny memes on the Instagram too. I really do crack up. There was one. It was like, all the Spider-Man guys pointing at each other for each day of the week because everyone in New Orleans hasn't been on a time schedule with the storm and all that. And
I like the little votings on Instagram.
Yeah, I do it all the
quizzes because I'm like super upset if I do bad on a quiz.
There's literally survey Monday, and it's always cool it's just like the most ridiculous stuff, but it gives you something to do. Hours of entertainment. Make sure to check them out. And our weekend recaps are brought to you by Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. And I bet if I had to say, this might be going out on a limb here, but you're not going to find a better venue for a college football game minus Tiger Stadium, right? A better neutral site. Well, it's not really a neutral site because UCLA plays there, but a better home opening place than the Rose Bowl, right? Would you all agree?
Correct.
And despite the crap that we saw in the game that was being played, you're not going to find a better stadium and atmosphere to play in the same way that you're not going to find a better realtor than Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. Blaine Loop is our guy. He will help you find the home of your dreams, sell your current home to buy the new home of your dreams, or to even help you find somewhere to rent. Blaine has an open phone line at all times. He just wants to help you out. He wants to make sure you are living right, comfortably, and he will give you his all. He will not do what LSU did this weekend. He will give you his all. You can call or text him any time of day, 504-858-0031. That's 504-858-0031. And I heard last week Rory said he didn't know his office phone number, but he was going to give you his personal number. His office number is his personal number.
Yeah, so, that's what I thought. It sounded right to me at the time.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. It took a lot for me to memorize that number, a lot of tries. And did you know that Keller Williams is an equal opportunity housing partner, each office independently owned and operated? All right. I'm thinking here's what we're going to do.
I think I'm going to let you know what I think, and then you tell me because you got a ton of questions.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. We're just gonna throw everything at the wall and see what bounces back. And I think a good place to start is with you, Luffy.
Yeah, I mean, it was awful, embarrassing. I think that's the word that everyone is hopefully thinking the same thing, because that was just embarrassing. The team wasn't prepared. It starts at the top with the coaches, and it sucked. That was awful.
I mean, yeah, I agree. And I mean, even like the little bit we rewatched, there was problems all over the field. There was missed assignments on the offensive line. There was receivers not getting open. Max making the wrong read, bad play calls by Pete's, just offensively wise. I mean, it was all over the place. And you can find the same thing on defense. Defensive line not making plays, linebackers not making plays. It was just it was a total, like Coach O likes to say, it was a total team effort. It really was a total team effort to lose that game. Like, it was, everybody had to play in that loss.
So, just to kind of reiterate, like Luffy said last week, and I guess I'm going to try to defend myself, but this game is not an indication of how good UCLA is, right? Like, I was very confident in LSU going into the weekend, just on the sheer fact that after watching them play Hawaii, I was not impressed at all by what UCLA was doing. They ran the ball down the throat of a team that was not very good, right? And I figured that LSU would have the resiliency and the I guess drive to come back with our athleticism and beat this team. And it felt like that, and there were some positives, right? But with the athleticism, the comeback, the hype, and all that, it was a huge letdown. But a positive note, we'll go ahead and just knock the positive out. It was announced on Saturday that Kayshon Boutte signed an NIL deal with Boot Crew Media, and included in that deal means, you know what, Rory?
What?
He's going to come on the podcast once a month to break down everything LSU football. We could not be more excited about that. Kayshon Boutte had a phenomenal game. He was literally, I'd say, the bright spot in the game.
100%.
Easily
touchdowns.
The one of the two positives, and the other two being Ricks and Stingley. They still look up to par, especially in coverage. But Kayshon was awesome. He's an animal. He's you get him the ball, we're gonna hopefully be getting him the ball some more, and he could have been maybe a factor earlier on. I know he caught the first touchdown, but it seemed like there was other times where he was open, and rewatching that, it could have been more big plays for Kayshon, even though he had a great game.
And I mean, I think we're all excited to have him on and to be on the show as a recurring guest, our first ever
planned out recurring guest, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's exciting, and I think he's one of the top receivers in the country. Definitely the best player on the offense. Probably one of the best three players on the team, and there's no doubting that. He played really well. 3 touchdowns. You can't play bad and have 3 touchdowns. So
I think he had.
And he really should have
148 receiving yards.
He really should have had a 4th.
Yep.
And Max probably should have made a better throw on that. He will say that he probably should have made that catch, but it should have been a better throw. He was wide open in that end zone, and that was kind of a big letdown going into halftime. Was that drive get the interception? You get some momentum back. Like you kind of weren't feeling like yourself for a second. You get the interception. You get the momentum. You make it all the way down to 1st and goal, and then you have that play, which just needed to be a better throw, man wide open, and then you have pretty much 2 overthrows. Just bad play all around.
Yeah, so I think we're going to kind of run down the list, and I think we're going to touch on a lot of things. This is like the lightning round. Okay, so these were all the things that when grinding the tape and during the game that I kind of noticed. Why in the earth is Emory and Kirkland having academic problems in week 1 of the season? School's been in session for what,
Well,
2 weeks now.
Well, the problem is they're celebrating on the side. What are they doing on the sideline? If they have academic issues, shouldn't they be back here
Now,
working on school?
Now there's not that, and I'm not to. This is not to like put down them for having academic issues, right? But that seems like an issue 2 weeks into the school year that could easily be dealt with, right? I don't understand.
I think it's an eligibility thing.
Yeah.
They're not eligible. They didn't get the credits. So I assume that going into the year, you have to have a certain GPA and a certain credit number to play when you're a certain year old. And so I assume that they thought that they were going to get those over intersession. And that's probably why we didn't really see much of them at practice when we went to practice.
Yep.
There probably were in intersession classes, and either the intersession grades have not come back yet, or the intersession grades came back and they weren't up to par. And it could be a thing where I really don't know if you're out the first game for academic issues, can you come back? Because you can't really get a credit in the middle of the year.
I mean, what are they going to do? Sit out for the rest of the semester?
They might have to sit out. I really don't know the inner workings of it.
Football season is the whole semester.
I know. So
no, and I'm like I said, I'm not putting down them for having academic issues. It's just if I'm a coach, I am maybe not me specifically. If I'm Coach O, I am putting somebody in charge of just making sure my guys are going to class, making the.
I mean, they have that. They have that 100%. I think if it's
could this have been prevented, is what I'm saying.
100%. I think. I mean, and I'll be willing to call somebody out. They're really they're obviously kids who are not like the smartest and will never make really good grades. Just like school is not their thing. They've been good at football and school is really just not their thing. They're not really good at school. But if you just try and put in the effort, you will be fine. You won't have academic issues because you have tutors and you have people who make you go to class. You can get a tutor for pretty much any class that you take. That's not like a 4,000 level class. And it's really like most of these kids are in the good graces of their professors. Like it really takes sometimes a player's own mentality outside of the football field to, you kind of just have to step up. It's kind of like it's time to maybe grow up a little bit and go to class and be on top of your book work, because those kids they're not dumb, and like they're smart enough to be academically eligible. They are, and they have the resources to be academically eligible. But I'm kind of placing the blame on them. I really, once you kind of get to the academics, there is really no resource that you are legally by the NCAA allowed to have that you cannot get at LSU. Every resource possible under the sun you can get.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll kind of move on for that. It's just that was the first thing out the gate. It was just frustrating, right?
It is frustrating.
Second thing that I kind of I've noticed is that so the offensive line got torched for the entire game, correct? So they were bringing blitzes. We knew it was coming. Is there any adjustments in game that Pete's could have made? A rollout for Max Johnson, a different route running for the wide receivers. How about a pitch to the outside? How about like something different? It felt like it was just the same thing the whole game. Right?
Yeah, and the offensive line wasn't great. And from what Rory and I and you, John, were just kind of rewatching, it wasn't all them at times. Like sometimes the plays could have been called better. Sometimes someone could have gotten open earlier, and sometimes Max could have just gotten the ball out quicker. But I mean, we sat here. I was worried about it last week. I said, this is really Pete's first time calling plays.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first time they call plays differently in practice. It's different than practice because I don't think they run much in practice because they don't really hit much in practice, which might be a whole different issue with the defense and their lack of tackling. But it wasn't only the offensive line's fault. And that's one thing that I don't want to hear.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and I said this before, I think it's kind of like an everybody to blame thing on offense. And I think, I'm sure, I doubt we didn't get a Pete's conference, but like he would be the first one to say that as well. I think the issues were just there, and it was all over the field, you're right. It was missed assignments on offense by the offensive line. Really just not good blocking, not good technique at times. But then at other times, it was also just maybe missing a wide receiver or not looking to the open guy. And it's just problems that we need. It's a young quarterback, which is always going to have problems. But it's just like we didn't seem well prepared for the first game of the season. You think you have 2 weeks to prepare for UCLA alone? UCLA only had 1 week. They had to prepare for Hawaii. We had 2 weeks at least to prepare for them before like the end of camp. Like once camp ends, then you go into preparation for UCLA. You had 2 weeks to prepare for UCLA, and that's what you come up with. It wasn't great execution, and that's coaches and players.
Yeah, and I mean the season was on the line there. That's a game that you have to win, and I don't understand. We couldn't get the run game going. Like even when they tried, they didn't really stick to it, but they couldn't get it going. And I don't think the run game works without Max, because I don't know if the line's good enough. Like they definitely need to get Max involved to throw some things off and definitely open up more quick passes in the passing game. Because I think all hands on deck for that first game. Roy, and like you said, like the preparation wasn't there on the offense.
And I think they just will because they have to. You have a guy like that, and I know that injuries are worrisome, but you gotta let him make plays, especially because he is a young quarterback. So sometimes he will need to use his legs when maybe that fourth option is open, but he doesn't get all the way there in his read, and so maybe he needs to make a play with his legs, or you just need 3 or 4 yards every once in a while, like just a pound the ball, and kind of wear a defense down. We never did that. It was never a quick pass, maybe a little zone run, quick pass, zone run.
It was
just a march down the field.
It was weird, quick slant. That is what I noticed in the first half. That was the majority of Max Johnson's passes. And look, I understand that it's Pete's first time calling plays and whatnot. I understand it was the first game, all that, but the creativity wasn't there. And if I'm Pete's at halftime, I'm going into the locker room and I'm pulling out the stops. I'm saying, all right, we're going to have a design run for Max. I understand that we're low in the quarterback depth chart, but I mean, this is literally, and we'll get to this. This is Coach O in one way or another could be on the hot seat. We'll get to that. I'm just saying you got to pull out the stops to win the game.
Yeah. I mean, and like you said, design runs, but like a lot of 3rd and 2s and 3rd and shorts or 2nd and short where we didn't get it. It was like that would have been a perfect time to call it. There was a bunch of good opportunities throughout the game to call it.
We watched, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2, manageable downs.
Yes.
And we saw passes for 30 yards or 25 yards down the field. Throw the dump off and let your guy make a play, or throw the quick. The pick, the wide receiver pick is like literally one of the most overpowered things done in college and the NFL football. When you have the 2 wide receivers lined up in the slot, maybe like a little 3 wide receiver set, and you run a little pick play where they run outs different ways. That's literally one of the most overpowered plays because referees just don't call that pick. And the guy is always open. I don't understand why we aren't utilizing, just like take the 3 to 4 yards. That's all you need on 3rd and 4. You need 4 yards. Like you don't need 25 yards on 3rd and 4. And I think that comes into a Pete thing, but it's also a Max thing because we saw it in what we watched from the first half. We saw we definitely saw at least one play where we had 2 wide receivers wide open with an easy first down, and he threw to likely his first option.
Yeah, and Max made some good plays as well. He got smoked a few times. He got smoked a few times in the first half, which is going to happen when we keep running these plays with the receivers going 30 yards down the field and they're bringing 7-8 guys. But
that's also another thing I don't get. That's bad play calling.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to blitz all the time, let's get the quick play.
Mix it up.
Did what?
Right?
70% of the time, I think they did.
Yeah,
dude. I mean, it was every time they were bringing 7. Like it was insane. And then they'd play man to man on the wide receivers, and Max would be forced to make a quick throw. UCLA their execution, but it was their game plan. The game plan was beautiful by UCLA. I don't think they're talented. I don't think they're as talented as us, and I don't think they're better than us. But they outsmarted us.
The defense, and the offense. But now we're talking about UCLA's defense outsmarted and outplayed LSU's offense 100%. If you think about it, you have a couple starters down on the offensive line, and then you have an inexperienced quarterback who hasn't played that many games, and you just blitz him and make him make quick decisions and the thing is, like, Max was never going to be able to sit back there and slice you and dice you because he's just not there yet, and he might be there. He's got 3 years until he's out of eligibility. I think he will get there, but at this point right now, that's just not his game.
I think that Max needs to look at and it's tough to not compare to 2019. I'm sorry, but
yeah, I can't. I don't know if I can take that comparison one more time.
I'm not. But what I'm saying is, you can learn from that, right? Watch film. If you watch film of Joe Burrow, and he was the best to ever do it, I understand that. But he had a clock in his head. 1, 2, 3. To do. Right? So I'm not comparing or anything, but I am in a way saying you can learn some simple things like that. Now it's harder said than done, right?
I just want to make sure. All right, now we're good. I don't know why I did that.
I just think I think him being inexperienced and whatnot, it showed in the first game, and he has to have that pocket presence, right?
And to go back to the 2019 thing, I don't want to hear Ed mention it one more time or mention Joe Brady and the Joe Brady system one more time. I'm sick and tired of hearing that.
We are sick and
tired of hearing that.
And I think we should move on to your next question. But
all right. So first CD drive.
I have something to say about that later.
First CD drive, LSU drives down the field. Good drive, Kayshawn touchdown. And then literally the very next play, 75-yard wide open pass to the tight end. Explain that to me, because that one is one that I put in parentheses. Really?
It was a play action pass, and the whole defense got fooled.
Yeah, it was just a lapse of judgment.
Just left. Burns was left out there by himself, and people were trying to blame him. But he had a 1-on-1, and he was, he's not really a good spot there. But
it's not his fault that the dude should have been covered. It's not his fault that play ended up like that. And the defense wasn't great. The
linebackers were not good.
And that's, likely who was probably going to be covering that tight end was the linebacker. But the linebackers and the defensive line were really not that good. Anytime you get run the ball on like that, obviously it's a linebacker problem, but it's also a defensive line problem.
They were getting blown off the ball. I don't think people expected that.
Not getting off blocks, making plays
we have a deep defensive line.
And even when they were getting to him, he was already back there for it felt like forever when they did finally get to him. The ends weren't good enough and the tackles weren't good enough, and they're going to have to find a rotation that is, and they really just got outmanned and outplayed.
So number 18, Damone Clark.
He just, I just don't think he will ever pull it together. It really doesn't look like it.
He seems hesitant, kind of like he did last year at times. And, it's weird because he was good under Dave Aranda. He had a good year. And it's so weird to see someone go backwards like that, but he obviously doesn't feel comfortable out there if he's not really able to play going forward and go in and hit people like he was.
Because that was one thing I noticed while we were watching the film. It's like he refuses to wrap up. I don't understand. There were a couple times where it was like he could have tackled the guy 5 yards prior to where he ended up, and he just he didn't even whiff. He touched him, and they just it was almost like he thought that he just gave up on the play, thought they were going to go down. I just don't understand.
Yeah, there wasn't enough group tackling, definitely either. If one guy had him, they just all assumed he was going down, and I think that's a practice issue, because I think in practice they blow that whistle pretty damn quick, and I don't even know how much they are tackling. And Rory can speak to this, but I don't know how many gang tackling, is going on, how much gang tackling is going on in practice because they don't want anybody else getting hurt, especially the running backs. I mean, we're already thin there.
Yeah,
and they're all wearing it seemed like they're all wearing no contact jerseys every practice too. The running backs. So not that that's their fault, but
so after that, LSU gets the ball back. We're driving down the field, and Trey Palmer is wide open. It was a play we just watched. They brought 7. I believe Trey Palmer's wide open, and Max basically threw it in the dirt. And I guess this is might sound like a dumb question. I don't know, but is it more on Max if you keep, because it felt like he did that a lot during the game, right? It looked like a lot of his passes were at the wide receiver's feet. Is it more on him to be able to pick the passes up, or is it on the O-line to allow him more time? Because he is flustered back there, and I understand that, but at the same time, if you got to be quick, you still got to get it to him.
And he just took the last play was out there. He took a big hit before that throw. And I mean, it was just a bad throw that wasn't really there. And I just can't look too much into that. I mean,
they had 6 blockers and they brought a 7th guy.
He's still a young quarterback, regardless of what. Oh, yes, I know he played last year.
I agree.
Guess how much pressure they had in winning those 2 games. They had won 3 games before that. They had no pressure to win those 2 games.
Yep.
They could go out there and do whatever they wanted. People are already mad.
Yeah, exactly. And
People are already mad. There was only going up for them at the end of last year.
They had nothing to lose.
They had nothing to lose. They had to go out there and play with no pressure. Like, it's just way different. And a lot of new guys were getting to play, so they didn't really know any different. They were playing LSU football with minimal crowds and no pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, just that play, I wouldn't like to point a finger of blame on anybody on that play because I think it's just good play calling by the defense. And I mean, really, Max should make that throw.
Yeah, I mean,
but it wasn't.
You can't. Okay. You just can't expect him to make that. I just don't expect him to make that throw at this age. Like,
if I had that many grown men running at me, and I had nobody to step in front of them to block me, I would be in the same boat.
He came at full speed from 10 yards, and he took a drill.
It
was a clean hit.
I agree.
I just you would love to see him make that throw perfectly, and I there's some quarterbacks, and I think Max can, but it's just you have to get to that point. You got to take those bumps and bruises and figure out what you were talking about, that internal clock in your head, and how to handle the pressure. And that just comes with age and experience. I mean, nobody walks out there when you're a freshman and just knows all that stuff.
It's just frustrating because it was going to be a touchdown. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Max is going to be good, but this does make the people who are just guaranteeing that he was starting the season and that he was so much better, Miles. This does make them look kind of foolish. I mean, because
it's hard for anybody to do anything with the O-line. I mean, right?
I think the O-line is.
It is what it is.
Yes, they should have a lot of blame, but I think they're wrongly getting the brunt of everything that happened when it really, the O-line was bad. Yes, the run blocking was terrible. Could they have played better? Yes. But at the end of the day, it was a team loss by the offense.
No doubt.
It was, and you can point the finger at the O-line, but they were not the only problem, even close.
Rory, tell me how many first half rushing yards we had.
I think I'm going to do a blame pie chart for the game and put it on my computer. I thought about doing that last night.
Who you're allowed to blame?
My blame. Just
I think it all falls somewhere, right?
No, I mean, I think it would be pretty ezy for me to do.
I'm saying
100% O.
No, I mean, it's mostly O, but
I was about to say I think you'd put over 50% O.
How many rush yards in the first half?
6.
1.
3.
I thought it was 1.
We had 4, and then they got the sack. I believe it was 3.
Okay, I kept hearing 1 on the.
I mean, that's just insane when you think about what LSU used to be, and then what that's crazy.
And and that's kind of what I was getting at. I mean, we're still trying to run the spread offense with 5 down linemen, including the center, and it's not working whenever they're blitzing 7. The math is simple, right?
And the spread worked. What did
It
UCLA
works.
do? They
It
ran
works.
the ball out of the. I mean, we
Yeah,
did it.
it works.
We did it. We've done it before. Like
Like-
we successfully run the ball, and we did at the end of last year.
Yeah.
At times.
I think that comes down to a mindset
And
by
Matt,
the team.
I think you need Max involved in the run game.
I agree.
I think so too.
I just think you do. He was involved in the run game against Ole Miss and Florida, and we ran it well.
That also comes down to like mindset by players, coaches, like alike. You need to run the ball successfully. You need to have the mindset. We are going to run the ball down these people's throats, whether they like it or not. We're going to get 4 or 5 yards and just pound and pound and pound. And like, you know what? That's going to work out. And it's not going to work out every time. That's not the perfect offense at all. But having that ability and that mindset transforms your game. You know, even with the national championship, I mean, you had a great quarterback with a great offense with great wide receivers, and not to talk about 2019 too much, but you also had a great running game, and you could pound the ball when you needed to. And there's going to be times where you just need to grind it out.
We needed to run the ball to beat Florida that year.
Yeah.
And Auburn.
Okay. Moving on. So Luffy, you were fired up about this when we were watching the game together. Why are we snapping the ball with 1-2 seconds left on the play clock?
It was like a Les Miles error. Like we couldn't get the plays in, and almost on defense too at times. Like they didn't know that, and they were looking over to the sideline, but way too many times where Max was like barely counting down to the end, and we had to burn timeouts. And whenever you can't get play calls in, it doesn't seem like the offense is running well. Like
So,
that just seems to correlate.
See,
But,
like I think there's times where like
And they were blitzing a lot,
There's
so-
multiple there's reasons why you run the play clock out. So a lot of times LSU and Joe Brady like to do this. So I'm sure Pete likes to do this as well. Is you call a fake play and then you clap and
Yeah,
everybody looks over to get the real play so you can get the defense. We do that a lot. And so that's why you see that run, and the risk that comes with that is maybe, you get a better play call because you get a better look at the defense, but it does run down the clock.
It did not look smooth though.
It doesn't.
It didn't look smooth. That's the thing.
When it's not working,
when it's smooth. Yeah.
When it's not working, it looks bad. I agree.
All right, so moving on to halftime, LSU's down 14-10. Another frustrating thing right before half was the field goal that York kicked it, and we were offsides on a field goal, which I think everybody was also wondering how you get offsides on a field goal. That forces us back enough to where we're not in field goal range anymore. We have to punt. Very frustrating. In a game like this, when so many things are not going right, when you shoot yourself in the foot on something like that, it just adds insult to injury, makes it so much more tough to watch.
I mean, you just saw we saw 10 points just fall off the board, really. You saw the missed touchdown when we're in the red zone, and then you saw that as well. That's 7 points, 10 points off the board, just like that. Changes the whole dynamic of the game.
Extremely frustrating, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, extremely, extremely frustrating there.
All right, so let's we're gonna get into the second half and whatnot, but I can't even wait on this one. So Max's no look Mahomes pass. Luffy, what are your thoughts on his mechanics on that?
I mean, he must have been watching his dad's TikTok too much. But
I mean, I get it.
Whatever.
I get it.
I would probably try
he's
to
a
do the
young
same-
quarterback,
yeah,
and I get why he did it.
he won't do it again.
No, he definitely won't do it.
He's not going to do it again.
I don't think.
And
he did not
incomplete, so
yeah,
it didn't really
just,
matter.
He was just throwing it to be incomplete. Like he just didn't want to take it.
Very, very lucky.
I mean, it was just reckless.
There were two
abandonment
UCLA
play.
guys at the ball fell.
Well,
between.
it didn't hurt us at all. So
Yeah.
it had no impact.
It
really.
did.
Okay. Because when it happened, we were all very, very dumbfounded at the decision. And I get it. The dude was under pressure all night.
I think he was just trying to do anything and everything to
Yeah.
save the game.
Yeah. And that is a tall order when, like we said, we were dealing with, the blitzing from the defense and the amount of pressure that he was under all night. So you get to go ahead. Go ahead.
No, wait, you go.
No, I mean I was just going to say you get to the third quarter. We get the ball first and immediately turn it over. Correct?
Yeah, I was just going to say that
we gave it back to them on like the 30-yard line, I believe. And
the second half was like very uninspiring. I never felt in the game. Like I never felt like, all right, we got this. Like,
I mean, maybe when we scored the first touchdown, but there was so much game left to play after that it didn't matter.
And they came right back. Like
lack of leadership and coaching adjustments.
I mean, like you expect to go in and second and at halftime and come out, a different team, a better team, and we just did not look like that. And also take advantage. UCLA went in there. And then they didn't, credit to them, but like you need to come out and be more fired up than them and ready to play.
This was such an issue last year. This was the one thing we noticed last year.
What's O's record in losing at halftime? When losing at overtime?
2-11.
Yeah. Or is it 2-12 now? Maybe it was.
Oh yeah, because they showed it at the beginning of the third quarter.
Yeah.
So it's 2 wins. Auburn 2018.
Yeah.
And
that was
I have no idea.
It wasn't in 2019.
It doesn't.
Was it Florida last year?
We were beating Florida.
It could have been when he was at USC.
No.
All right. Anyway,
I'm looking this up.
Look, I mean, it all just kind of crumbled from there. I think there were some notable plays and whatnot in the second half, but it was more the same, right?
Yeah.
The questions that were being asked throughout the night were, where are the linebackers? How is their receiver so wide open? Why are we not getting pressure on the quarterback? The offensive questions, obvious stuff, where like some pads got thrown in the dirt. Max was under pressure all night. It was nothing went right. Right. There was literally a couple things, and even Stingley in the fourth quarter. Now, y'all made a good point when we were talking about it before the show. He kind of whiffed on a tackle, but y'all thought he was going for the strip because the game.
I'm not worried about Stingley.
No, I'm not worried about him at all.
I'm not worried about Stingley. But I do.
But I think that was a good point to somebody who would say, "Oh, Stingley gave up on the play." Well, I do think y'all are right. He was going for a strip.
To part of like the. I
think it's a lot more concerning that
second half of the game, like. Your leaders on the team have to be like good. Like you need like a good vocal leader, and like it doesn't seem like anybody on the sidelines really getting in the face of the defenses, like defensive players, and they don't really seem that fired up. Like it doesn't make sense to me how the defensive line was blown off the ball the entire day. But
I mean, we got this 5-star kid Mason Smith covering up the middle, and then you got Ojulari and Gay on the outside. Why are we unable to? I mean, what is the job of a defensive end? To turn the play inward, right? They were going to the outside. They were running right through the defensive line. I mean, it was tough to watch.
Yeah, it was so hard to watch. There's nothing more disappointing than just getting gashed on defense. Like struggling a little bit on offense with a new coordinator and a young quarterback is like one thing, but the defensive just meltdowns were extremely hard to watch.
So
and Durante Jones, I mean, we talked about Pizza earlier, but he definitely deserves some blame in this, that they weren't ready at all.
Yeah. So one thing that we kind of talked about leading up to the beginning of the season was, and I kind of made a big deal about this, was that if we got burned over the top, we were going to be livid, right? Because that was absolute, like Bo Pelini's defense was the worst in LSU history, right? And the only time we didn't get like burnt over the top, but we got gashed through the run game and other scenarios. There was one play where TDR threw it. It was a bomb, and I believe it was 23. What's his name? I'm blanking.
Micah Bakersfield.
Baskerville.
Our team?
Yeah, Baskerville.
Yeah.
He got torched over the top, and then the next play he made a tackle. So
Baskerville was probably our best linebacker in that game, honestly.
I know. Honestly, yeah. I agree. The defense was just bad. I mean, there's nothing else to say about it. But besides the cornerback play, the safety play was bad. The linebacker play was bad. Defensive line play was bad.
And then Jay Ward
he got lit up.
Yeah,
getting hurt isn't good though, because I mean, he's our best safety. So
he is.
So.
And also Deculus going down was
and Cam Wire going down as well.
No, he did come back in the game.
But
yeah. All right, so let's kind of put a bow on this. So LSU next 2 weeks has McNeese stayed at home. We are tailgating for that. We've never lost a tailgate. I'll tell you that.
That's true. Wait, I mean, we haven't even promoted that. Everybody come out the box tailgate. This Saturday. What time? I got asked this today. What time do you think we're out there?
So the game's for what? 6:30 or?
Yeah, I said
we will be out there.
I bet you
ready to go.
John's out there like 9 a.m.
We will be out. I will be out there at 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
actually, I will be out there earlier than that, but we will be ready to go at 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
Okay,
we got to get the trailer and all that out there. We got to set up.
I thought you were coming back, then going back there. Like
no,
okay,
I'm gonna be out of there. We're gonna have a famous recipe for Jack Daniel's jambalaya. Cooking that out there. Might do some burgers and stuff as well. Come say hi. We're gonna be on the parade grounds. We have been putting in work with this. We might get the house bar to donate a little booze. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have a little alcohol, but we should have some good food out there.
Yeah.
So come by, eat, hang out.
We'll also have like some ice chests and stuff like that. Probably some cups if you want to make your own drink or something like that. We won't have much alcohol, but we'll have the other things you probably need.
Yep. It's going to be a time. Like we said, come see us. So, who's going to help us out with the tailgate, Luffy?
Workbox LLC is. I was at dinner Friday night, and me and Martine were texting about something. Boom, business deal done at dinner Friday night. The man's never not working. If you need anything, their Workbox is Louisiana's leader in construction, industrial, and residential services. They have storage containers, portable offices, portable restroom renters, and roll-off dumpsters. They're busy right now. They've been helping clean up. Martine's been doing anything he can do, helping everybody out with recovering from this hurricane. And if you need a storage container or a dumpster for your house, or you're redoing a part of your house, call Martine at Workbox 225-343-4886 225-343-4886.
And as we're recording this, Ole Miss is playing Louisville. Lane Kiffin, I know you were fired up about this, Luffy. Obviously a positive that I think a lot of people liked before the game was Coach O chirping at a UCLA fan with the sissy blue shirt and bring your ass on and all that. Turns out that that ended up not being a good thing to do because we ended up losing, and now we're being trolled online for it. And Lane Kiffin has tweeted out 3 or 4 different crying, laughing emojis at that, how we're getting trolled on. But as we say that, Ole Miss is up 6-0 against Louisville with 11:55 to go in the first. So, and Lane is not on the sideline tonight. He's probably on Twitter. So, he's probably he's watching the game, but he's just tweeting in the background. He's got his feet up. He's eating popcorn and whatnot. But anywho,
right.
Look at
John,
that.
That was your what's Lane Kiffin doing tonight segment of the show.
Can you imagine if he was just sitting on his couch with his feet up watching his team play?
I think that's probably what he's doing.
Okay. He's probably somewhere I guess he can't talk to his coaches,
just at his house. Yeah. I think he's probably just at his house chilling. All right. I want you to read this tweet because this is, I think, how a lot of people feel about O right now, or maybe should feel about O. And I just think it's a good take.
Okay. So this is T-Bob Abear. I'm not reading this tweet before I say it. To say O was a bad hire is asinine. Stop with the revisionist history BS. There can be coexisting truths. He was the perfect hire and got you a natty. He has not handled the success well and is now on the ropes. So
I think that's well said there, right?
I agree.
You can't go back and say that he wasn't a good hire at the time, obviously, because what he's done, and he hasn't handled the success well. He's typical. He's made public blunder after public blunder. kind of been maybe too much in the public eye, and his team seems to kind of be reflecting the distracting, kind of persona he's put forward over the last, 14, 15 months.
And I think his seat's getting warmer. It's got to be really bad this year to see him gone at the end of the year, but
with an athletic
6-6. Let's just throw that out there.
He's gone. This is an athletic director who didn't hire him.
Right.
That's true.
That's a good point.
And
somebody said he likely wouldn't have as well. I think
where Woodward spends every day? You know what he does? He goes to football practice. He's at every football practice.
He is at every football practice.
I did see him exactly take out from Pluckers one day.
And you know what?
Done that after practice.
It was probably right after practice. Yeah.
But I think
he's tapped in and he's not afraid to make a hire.
If it's 6-6 or 7-5, then he's gone. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. You can't do that back to back. I mean, even though last year really didn't count, but it's not only it hasn't been only the football thing to that the AD is not happy about.
They got some other stuff going on.
He's not happy. Yeah, he's not happy about some other things. So if things don't go well this year and he doesn't turn things around, then he won't be the head coach.
And I think that's very fair to say. It's almost like he has been somewhat stubborn in some of his blunders. The first thing was him meddling in Canada's offense. Now, granted, Canada is not a guy that people like.
No, Canada's woke.
Just this stubbornness to make adjustments. If this is just me, and everyone likes to be the armchair quarterback. I'm sitting in an armchair right now talking about sports like every other LSU fan is right now. But the lack of adjustments at halftime, the lack of adjustments after such a painful year last year, it's very concerning. And I think I am let me say this.
Okay.
I am a fan of Coach O. I do like him as the face. I like the Louisiana thing. I like his comments to fans. I love he really does seem like a good dude and a good motivator and a good recruiter. And to be honest with you, if they were to let him go, I'd wish he would stay on staff. But it is being called into question right now if he's going to be a head coach for the long term.
Yeah, first of all, he won't be on staff.
Yeah, there's no shot.
I understand. No,
just so you know, don't hold out hope.
No, but I understand. That's what you. He's a guy you root for. He's like Phil.
Yeah.
He's like Phil Mickelson. He's like Jack Nicholson. He's like Batman.
But
you just root for him.
What I was saying, and I think what speaks about O the most is just the lack of execution and preparedness and really energy. There was just a real lacking of energy.
The sideline
effort.
looked awful.
It's just those are things the head coach really doesn't control the X's and O's. I mean, he does a little bit. He controls who controls the X's and O's. But at the end of the day, Coach O is not calling offensive or defensive plays. He might be in the ear of a coordinator, but I mean, he's done that in the past and it really hasn't worked out well for him. But what you see with a head coach like Orgeron is execution and perfection. There's a reason why somebody
grittiness, grittiness is not reflecting in the team.
Exactly. There's a reason why. I mean, O should not be compared to Saban, but there's a reason why somebody like Alabama can have different coordinators every year and different defense coordinators. And Nick Saban doesn't call plays really, but it's the methodical and the practice and how he runs his program. That's what makes you a national championship.
It's like Belichick. It's like the Patriot way. It's the Alabama way. And at LSU, for whatever reason, why is it not translating? Nobody knows. Last year, there were rumblings about members of the team not even liking each other.
Yeah.
And it's okay, we think we figured that out. We got a new OC who's young, who's in practice, running routes with them. We got a new defensive coordinator that from what the media can understand, the players he's a coach that they want to play for, right? So we get rid of, we clean house and we come back and it still looks a lot the same.
Yeah. I think that might be where your problem lies. I don't know.
And that's why his seat's hot.
That is why his seat's hot.
Well, as much as it pains me to say it, after the season we had last year, we're going to be here. We're going to be breaking it down and continuing. We're going to do, we're going to tailgate and all that. Please come out to that. But we could be in for another frustrating season.
And you were right when you said this. We've never lost a tailgate.
Never.
So you can't, and like, I don't know. And you talked about this a little bit after, or you texted us about it, is like how we needed to win this for the atmosphere to be right. And you know what? I think LSU fans need to pick themselves up by the bootstraps and just and get out there for the atmosphere. It hasn't been right in a year. Just get out there. Let's
campus will be packed.
We need this place rocking. We need this place back because there will be meaningful games this year. This isn't the step in the right direction, but there will be meaningful games, and we need the fans to back LSU and to stay backing LSU always.
All in on that. One team,
one heartbeat.
All right. I think that about puts a bow on the LSU football talk. We have McNeese State coming up this weekend, following weekend. Who is it? Central Michigan.
Yes.
So ought to be 2 wins. Hopefully this will be the 2 weeks to make the adjustments right.
Yeah.
Because
Cody Orgeron coming to town, which would be nice.
That will be cool for Coach O to coach against his son. We're gonna wax him, but that will be a cool environment. And these next 2 weeks are the most. These next 2 weeks, let me throw something out there, and I don't think it's that big of a surprise, but these next 2 weeks might be the most important 2 weeks of Coach O's career, right? So, you take out the Natty. There was never a question that we were going to win, right?
I mean,
for him to keep his job.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
For him
we need to win these games.
For him, no, I'm not saying just win the games.
Yeah,
I'm saying
we need to look better.
1, win them convincingly, and 2, make up the adjustments. Because I don't know if y'all remember, you do, but the first game last year when KJ Costello looked like a Heisman candidate. Quarterback for Mississippi State. If Mississippi State is that a home or away? It's at Mississippi State. At Mississippi State. If we go up there and get wrecked, that's going to be a long ride home.
It will be.
And it's only like what? How far is it up to Mississippi State?
4 hours.
Yeah, but it's a plane ride, so it's like an hour, maybe 45 minutes.
Okay. All right. Let's get on to the House Always Wins segment presented by the House Bar in Tigerland. Rory?
Shout out to the House Bar in Tigerland. House Bar in Tigerland kind of got a dookie taken on them this weekend. Mayor, I don't know, not to get political on here, but there was a curfew after the game, so I couldn't DJ after the game. Everybody closed at midnight. Kind of just a shitty situation in all aspects. But
ain't gonna be a curfew this weekend.
There won't be a curfew this weekend. We're coming out. House Bar in Tigerland. I'll be there Thursday night. Come see his deals every night of the week. Just go home. Beautiful renovation, beautiful bathrooms. The patio is nice. The patio is popping now. The patio goes off. People love the patio. They'll be helping us out with our tailgate. Hopefully we'll have some free goodies from them. Maybe some booze if they're kind enough. But House Bar in Tigerland. Follow them on Instagram at House Bar in Tigerland, on Twitter at Tigerland House. I'll start off this week. Last week, I took the win. I don't even remember who I had. Oh, I had Georgia. I gave you the plus money with Georgia.
Like that.
Nobody watched that game because it was during LSU, but
you're following.
I know. I wish that game wasn't during.
I know.
2:30 would have been beautiful.
The pick six.
2:30 would have been beautiful.
The pick six is the only touchdown scored, which is insane to think about. But Georgia's back. Good to see it. And this week, I'm hitting up the NFL. First week of the NFL, hitting up a little teaser, a 6.5 point teaser. I'm taking the Chiefs. Again, this is 6.5 point teaser. So Chiefs plus a half point, Rams -1. And those are 110.
How many
minus
teasers
110
do you think the Chiefs will be in this week?
so many teasers.
A couple 100,000,
Probably. I mean,
500,000.
they're minus 6
I already
on
know
the
that it'll
game.
be in my teaser.
They're playing the Browns this week. I don't even know who the Rams are playing. The Rams are 7.5-point favorites. Chiefs, Rams, teaser. Take it to the bank.
Luffy?
I think I'm going to go. This feels like a sucker line, but I think I'm going to go with the Oregon plus the 14 against Ohio State. Ohio State, I don't think Ohio State's defense is that great after watching that game the other night, but their offense is good. They should score a lot of points, but I think the Oregon Ducks will keep it close because they need to. You know, if they want to get into the playoff, they're going to have to keep it close in this game. They can't get blown out, even if they're only lost. They could still get in and win in the Pac-12, but they have to keep this game close, or they can't get into the playoffs. So I'll take them plus 14.
Also, curfew is lifted. I just saw so. Beautiful stuff for the Husbarn Tireland.
Power Move City. All right. I actually won 2 House Always Wins picks over the weekend.
You had a great gambling weekend, huh, John?
No. I was in Biloxi for the weekend. Overall, had a little bit too much on LSU. Did not end up winning overall, but I did win the House Always Wins picks. The picks I gave to the people. I gave to the people, I did win. So as we talked about a few weeks ago, I picked Clemson.
He's keeping the losers for himself.
Under, yeah, exactly. That's what I do. I picked
Team player.
Clemson under 11.5 regular season wins. They only play 12 games in the regular season, and they lost the first one to Georgia. So
that's a beautiful pick, John.
Problem is, it doesn't cash until the end of the regular season. So that will be a pending winning bet that I will have sitting until December. Also picked Bama. Bama's my team to bet on for this past week against Miami. It was minus 19.5. I think the final score was like 44-3. So that was an absolute shellacking. This week, I'm kind of torn because I really enjoy, and I know Luffy said I have my teams that I like to bet on. Actually, let's just stay while we're hot. So I'm going to take Texas minus 7 against Arkansas. I know Arkansas put up a decent performance against Rice, 38-17. And Texas played
ULL,
the University of Louisiana Lafayette, not Louisiana. And I think they beat them 38-17 as well. So I'm going to take Arkansas was only predicted to win their over under was like 2 games for the season. I think
was like last year, I think.
Even still not there.
Yeah.
I don't have faith in them. I think Sark's got Texas on the right track. So I'm going to take Texas minus 7. If you want to buy the half point to get it 6.5, I wouldn't blame you for it, but we're not doing that on the Out the Box show. Also, we're going to start off the season right with the team that I bet on 4 times last season. Seattle Seahawks minus 2.5 Seattle Seahawks minus 2.5 against the Colts.
I saw that game was offline, so that's you got the ESPN.
Well, if it is offline,
that's fine. You can take it. I don't care. I thought it was.
Might be offline because so many people were betting the Seahawks. Because
so many people listen to this live. They heard you bet Seahawks.
I mean, we have thrown off a line or two from the Out the Box show, but I think we got some winners. Let's ride the hot train. Football's the time to make money. I'm sick of betting baseball. Yeah, it's offline. But when it comes back on, make sure to bet it. I'm sure there's a good reason that it's offline, but you got until Sunday. Wow. I just thought about this.
Football's back.
I just thought about this. Sitting on the couch.
Football's back.
All day.
Hungover.
Red zone.
I'm going to go buy some.
Checking your fantasy roster.
Dude, I'm literally going to go buy some chicken wings and just sit there and eat them all day. I'm going to get enough for the day. I'm going to just eat one like every 15, 20 minutes. NFL football is fantastic on a Sunday. We're going to have a great tailgate. This is going to be a beautiful weekend.
I know, it really is.
I'm very excited. I think that about does it for the House Always Wins segment and our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. We cannot thank y'all enough. LSU, we're going to be here through thick and thin for LSU. We proved that last year. I think we're going to be better than last year. I really do, and I hope so in my heart. But it means the world to us. Come out and see us on Saturday. We're really looking forward to it. We've been putting in a lot of work, and we got a lot of things in motion for our first Out the Box tailgate. Make sure to follow the Boo Crew Media Network. Football season is huge for the Boo Crew Media Network. Look out for some giveaways. They gave away Saints tickets. They give away all kind of gear, jerseys, signed jerseys and whatnot. Boo Crew is on top of that. Shout out to Boo Crew for making the NIL deal with Kayshon Boutte happen. He had a great game, and we're excited. We'll have more details later on when he's going to come on the show. We're going to try to get him a hoodie or a shirt or a hat or something. We got to talk to them about that. BooCrewMedia.com. Make sure to follow the Boo Crew Media YouTube page. That is where you can literally watch us. You can watch us. Look, wave, everyone. Hey. You can find us on the Boo Crew Media YouTube channel. Also, shout out to all of our great sponsors, Workbox LLC, Blaine Lube with Keller Williams Realty, and the House Bar in Tigerland. And like I said at the start of the show, y'all did a fantastic job recording last week in my absence. And I really want to, slightly serious for a second. But as y'all mentioned last week, I was down, and I got some family that's got a camp down in Cocodrie, and we were in Homo all day, kind of assessing the damage and whatnot, and really just want to offer prayers for all the people that lost everything. I mean, down on the island, it looks like Grand Isle and all that just took a beating, and it really. It kind of hits home to actually see it. You can see pictures and you can see videos and whatnot, but when you're actually down there, it's like, I mean, people lost everything. Yeah. And, my family was fortunate enough to we're all gonna be okay on that end, but there's a lot of people that aren't. So, we shared the Cajun Navy fundraiser on the Instagram. If you can find in your heart, donate to something like that, because that's not affiliated with us or anything, but all kind of ways you can help out, and praying for the people of South Louisiana.
I mean,